Please put your hands together for the ever-inspiring Alexie Saller.
So, 3 years ago, I was walking down a busy street in Bangalore, India. And as I turned the corner and stepped off, suddenly I saw it. A sprawling city slum, dotted with households made of nothing more than a blue plastic tarpaulin sheet draped over a bamboo frame. And a woman came forward to greet me. Her name was Lakshmi. Lakshmi grew up in rural India with her family, but they were so poor that at the age of 12, they married her to a man in the village. And together with her husband, as a 12-year-old, she moved to Bangalore in search of a brighter future. On the day that I met Lakshmi, she was 26 years old. And it was no longer just her and her husband, but also their 4 small children living in a tent on the side of the road and with nothing but a kerosene flame to light up their home. And that kerosene was interesting because it's expensive. Lakshmi is spending $3 to $5 every single week just for that small flame to light up her family's home. It's slowly killing her and her children. They inhale the equivalent of 2 packets of cigarette smoke each every single day from indoor air pollution in their home. It's harming the environment. But worst of all, and what I realized as I sat there with Lakshmi and the sun began to set behind us, is that she is living her life in the darkness. And in the darkness, you can't cook or clean, so you give up your daytime working hours just to do that. In the darkness, your children can't learn to study or read, and they'll never get ahead at school. And in that darkness, you never even see the face of your husband or wife or children as they come home each evening. My name is Alexie. I'm a renewable energy engineer, and on that day in India, I was also 26 years old. But I was there with a group of young Australians who were trying to find a way to turn that kerosene lamp into a solar-powered lantern, which might sound easy. But do you have any idea how many people are living their life in the darkness every single day in India? 400 million. And they are flocking from rural villages into major cities. And we knew that whatever we did to reach 400 million people, it had to be something that would scale. And so we got ourselves together and created Pollinate Energy. And Pollinate Energy is a social business that takes local people who live in that city, who live near a group of slum communities. We bring them in and we train them up in everything they need to know to run their own small business selling solar-powered lanterns to families that live in slums instead of them buying kerosene. We call them our pollinators. They go out every single day. They go tent to tent, talking to families, helping them understand what a solar power light is, how it's going to change their lives, and then helping them buy one on a payment plan that even someone like Lakshmi could afford. In fact, she was one of our first customers. She paid off her light in 5 weeks. Within a few months, she'd broken even, and now she's saving $100 every year, which is 5% of her income. She's given her children a clean, healthy, bright home to live in, and finally, by making that choice, she has given them that chance at a brighter future. But we're not stopping there. We started in Bangalore, and we've moved into 2 other major Indian cities this year. Just last month, we reached our 10,000th family, which means there are now 50,000 people who have a solar light instead of kerosene in their home. And we have ambitions to take this model to the 50 biggest cities of India. But will we ever reach 400 million? Probably not. Do all of those 400 million people in India need our model and our support? It's most likely that we're not the right fit for everyone. And is giving electricity to 400 million people in India the only problem that we face in today's world? Most definitely not. Now, you could listen to that and get defeated and overwhelmed by the challenges that face us, or you could choose to do 3 very important things, which we have chosen to do to make sure that we can have the biggest impact possible in the world today. The first is to learn. Take whatever you can from a world around you and understand how you can use that to make the world a better place. For us at Pollinate, we knew that using entrepreneurs to get solar lights to poor people across the world was not a new thing. It's been happening in Africa and Asia for decades. What wasn't happening was people bringing solar lights to families living in slums, because nobody else wanted to serve the marginalized city slum communities. Which brings me to my second thing, which is to be willing to adapt. We don't have time to reinvent the wheel, but we can certainly transform it to fit whatever situation we're dealing with. If we had taken the models that existed in rural Africa and tried to make that happen in India's city slums, we would have failed. We had to make changes. And even now, as we've moved from Bangalore to Hyderabad to Kolkata, we are still making changes, and our model is changing every day in front of our very eyes. But we have chosen to be fearless of change. And you have to be, if your solution is going to have a true impact. But finally, the third thing I'd like to talk to you about today, and one which I'm personally very passionate about, is then to share. As a group of young Australians who decided to give up our jobs, co-found Pollinate Energy, and have a real crack at making this thing work, we know that young people today have the skills that they need now to do what they want to do to make the world a better place. And so, we chose to open our doors to people like you, young people all over the world who come into our team on the ground in India and spend a month seeing what it's like running a social business from behind the scenes, to learn from our mistakes, to take that knowledge and transform it into something you can use in your own world to make your own impact. Take Ben and Rory, twins from Perth in Western Australia. They joined us on the ground in Hyderabad in February this year. They were fascinated by our model, but they love surfing and traveling. Since leaving us from Hyderabad, they have now started their own eco-surf travel company, so that people like you can join in the love of surfing around the world, but know that you have a real, authentic experience and a positive impact on local communities. Or take Holly, an ex-Victorian state government employee. She came on our first Young Professionals program 2 years ago, right when we were starting out. She's done heaps of amazing things in that time, but one of the biggest has been launching her own sustainable, ethical clothing brand that uses bamboo in activewear, so that young people in Australia can put their money where their mouth is and buy products that they know are making the world a better place. I have the absolute pleasure of getting to know and meet every single person like this who comes through our doors. And their stories and what they do in the world around them after they've been with us continues to inspire me every single day. So if you would like to play a role like that in the world, if you are willing to learn and ready to adapt, you will go far. But when you get there, make sure that you are generous enough to share so that others around you can be inspired by your journey. And I look forward to seeing each of you up here telling your own story about how you're changing the world next time. Thank you.